Okay, this is the easiest way that I color hair. Step 1, flat colors. Step 2, same color on multiply layer. You're going to do these beautiful, long, kind of triangular shapes. Again, get a good brush that has kind of like a nice opacity change at the end. It just makes it look nice and soft. As always, for everything, I use this one that you can download from here. But I always get questions as to how do you know where to put these shapes? A good place to start is where one hair strand kind of meets another hair strand. Another place you want to emphasize is the part kind of like where the hair grows out of. And then you can adjust the opacity to how much you like it. Step 2, I do darker shadows, but same color, same brush, also a multiply layer. I'm not even kidding when I say this. I just do like random large shapes like this. Again, use a good brush that has that nice opacity change at the end. It just makes it look nice and soft. And again, you can change the opacity to how much you like it. And then step 3 is putting this nice blush tone around the bangs. And then with a slightly lighter color, but same brush, I do these little like scribble shapes for the hair shine. Then final optional step are these extra hair strands that you can put to make it look a little bit more cohesive. Make sure it is above the liner layer so it can kind of like overlap, and then you're literally basically done. You can see it was super fast, super easy. But yes, the key is the long triangular shape, same color and same brush. Okay, I drew every day for 2 years straight, and here's what I learned. Get a good liner brush. Look how disgusting this liner is. What? It's so pixely, looks gross, I hate it. I'm pretty sure this was the technical brush. Don't recommend. Find a genuinely good liner brush that is your staple, because you're basically using it 24/7. Personally, I always use the Yummy line art brush and the Yummy textured coloring brush. Next, never ever ever use pure white for your eyes or your teeth. It just makes your drawings look very flat and like kind of artificial. I recommend using like a gray or like an off-white. Same for black, never use pure black. Use like a dark gray or like a dark green. Next one is really important. Just make sure you are drawing for yourself. There was a time when I was drawing for likes or comments and it was just not fun. I think it's really healthy if you just sit down and just draw what you want. It doesn't even have to be posted, just draw for yourself. Like I just drew this randomly one day because I wanted to know what No Face would look like as an anime boy. And I don't think I'm gonna like post this anywhere, but like it was fun to draw. And next, if you are posting something for Instagram or Twitter, I like to minimize the size of my drawing before I post it. Just because if it's like too blown up and too zoomed in, you might miss some mistakes or adjustments that you wouldn't see otherwise. Okay, if you're lazy like me and hate doing backgrounds, I will show you my 3 go-tos when I don't want to just leave a white background. First is you got the glow. Yes, look at that. All you do is pick any color that you want. I like doing like a nice warm tone. Set it to add, and boom, there you go. One requires a little bit more effort, but it looks more like a legit background. Which is like a nice nature background. You can see some water and some mountains. I'm using the Aesthetic Backgrounds pack. You type that in, it's just the first one. But I really like the Faraway Slopes brush because it looks really natural and soft, and it helps you kind of draw these far away looking mountains. Basically no effort, I'm just kind of scribbling, but you can see it looks nice and soft and kind of blended in with the background. Okay, next, this one's still kind of a work in progress, but there is also a clouds brush. I kid you not, it makes literally the most perfect, fluffiest clouds with 0 effort. Like you could literally be scribbling. I literally made these clouds scribbling, and it's so low effort, but it still makes it look like you like put in effort to make a background. You can do the shadow trick. You can kind of see there's like a shadow cast behind him. And to do this, just fill in your person character with a gray color. And after you move it behind, you can let it peek out a little bit and then just do a little Gaussian blur on it. Super subtle, but it makes a nice little extra oomph of a difference.
Okay, here's the easiest way that I draw fabric, like clothing folds. Okay, so we're starting off with the flat colors. Now, the most basic shape that you want to learn how to do is like a thick to thin kind of shape like that. Also, I get a lot of questions for choosing colors. Basically, most of the time what I do is I take the flat color of this and I just change the fabric fold layer to multiply. And then you can play around with the opacity for like how dark or light you want it. But basically, once you have that kind of shape down, like you're set. Okay, so look at this. Wait, also before I go any further, I use the Yummy textured coloring brush. If you type that in, it's basically just this first one. Okay, but it's basically like the most perfect brush for any type of rendering. So once you do that shape, you're gonna do another one kind of right above it or like beside it. Just leave some space of the flat color in between. And then you can see that that kind of looks like a fabric fold, right? Like if I do it here again, really messily, like you can see that this light part looks like the fabric fold. So I cleaned it up and zoomed out a little bit. You can see I used the same technique here and it looks like passable fabric folds. Also, disclaimer, I have no idea what I'm doing. So if you're like, hey, why are they doing this wrong? It's because I probably am. Okay, someone asked me how I twirl my pencil, so I'm going to give you a really easy, quick tutorial. So you're going to hold it between your ring and your middle finger. And I think higher up gives you more control. And you're just going to start going back and forth like that. And then once this feels more natural, you're going to use the momentum from your swing to like toss and then catch it with your thumb. So you can just keep doing this until it feels more comfortable. You can try doing it twice in a row. So from one twirl into two, and then it just kind of goes from there. And then now you're like the coolest person in class. It works on shorter pencils too, but I think longer is easier. But yeah, give it a go. Okay, we all know backgrounds are super hard. So here are the tricks that I use to help make a good background. So if you have a character that is in front of your background, I never, ever, ever, ever use Gaussian blur on the background. Okay, a little is okay, I did it on this one. But like if it's too much, then I feel like it just looks like an Otome game or something. Also, we all know clouds are so important in backgrounds. So find a good cloud brush. No gatekeeping. My favorite ever is clouds from here. And it's literally the easiest brush. I'll do like a demo video later. But yeah, I love it. Lastly, if you want to make your character blend in with the background more, you can select the color of the background, fill it in, and make it multiply. And you can adjust to your liking, but it basically just makes them blend in so much nicer with the background. Here is the easiest way that I draw eyes. You're going to start off with a little arch shape like that, and same on the other side. Then you're just going to draw two lines going down from it like that, and then a horizontal line next to it. I love drawing full lashes, guys and girls, so I'm really just going to darken the part above the eyeline shape. Also, I think my style is kind of like messy, so I don't really like to clean it up. I honestly think like the messier the better. You can also give them some lower lashes. Also, before I forget, I use this brush from the Soft Anime pack. And it's just the first link that comes up when you type in Soft Anime Style Procreate brush set. But anyways, if you do lashes, remember to use the eraser and then just lightly kind of go like that to make the lashes seem a little bit like they have some dimension. Okay, now onto the pupils. So it's literally just like a slightly curved shape like that, and then do a smaller one, and same on the other side. Then you can also like throw in the pupil shape. Then this is when I like to change the color of the liner, just because I find it easier to actually like color the eye. Okay, so I cleaned it up a little bit and changed it to red so it'd be easier to color. Now I'm kind of embarrassed to explain this next step because I literally just scribble the pupil. Like, I don't know what you call that, but I'm literally just scribbling and then making sure I leave some white for like the eye shine. So yeah, you can see they're literally just scribbles. Okay, and then now you can start the coloring. Okay, I filled in the rest so it's kind of easier to see the colors all come together. But yeah, super easy. Make sure the eye whites are not actually white, kind of like an off-white is what you want. And then just put some shades of like pink or gray around this part. And again, for coloring inside the eye, I just scribble like that. And then what? You're basically done. Like that was so easy, right? And it looks pretty good, I think. So yeah, you can see very easy. You got this. Also, don't ask me to draw mouths, please. I literally can't do it.
How to draw water, yes. Okay. So with water, there really is no liner. Everything comes from the coloring. So I think the colors that you pick are very, very important. So if we're doing a body of water, I'm not going to use like a bright neon blue. I would tone it down to something a little less saturated and maybe a little bit more dim. Maybe something like this. And obviously you can end up changing the hue and the saturation once you're finished. So I'm just going to fill it up and we're just going to make this kind of look like a nice ocean. Once you got that down, I like to pick a then darker color and a little bit more saturated and just kind of put it on the horizon line. Something like that, super subtle, but it's there. Okay, I'm just gonna scribble in some mountains so it's like easier to tell the whole scene. Okay, I also added a girl and some rocks just so I can show how to add some ripples. But now with a slightly darker color, I just go in and do some of these random lines. Super subtle. It's like you can barely see it, but it's there. Also, every brush that I'm using, including like the mountains and stuff, is from the aesthetic background set. And you can just download it if you type that in. It's just this first one. Now you're going to pick a slightly lighter color and then do the same thing. And I'm just using this brush. Again, super subtle, but it's there. Next, I'm going to use the flowing water brush, and it just makes these kind of like soft ripples. And I just put that in like various random places. Then I go in with the trees and bushes brush, and I do these very soft kind of lines to kind of highlight the water. And if it's too intense, I just kind of blur and smudge it out. After, then I go in with a thin line art brush. I just use delicate details and just kind of drawing these soft white lines to kind of highlight the water again. And then with your line art brush, I just like doing these little dots that are super subtle. And it's like super subtle, but it adds like a nice little sparkly touch. Okay, so we're finished with the main body part. Now let's get into like the ripples and stuff. Wait, also, if you want to be edgy, you can like flip the mountains or whatever's up here on the horizon and kind of have it reflect on the water and then give it that ripple effect by kind of smudging it. Okay, but what I like to do is I like to suck the color that's around the object in the water and just kind of lightly airbrush it so it kind of blends in nicer. And then with a nice painty brush, I like to use a Yummy textured coloring brush. And if you type that in, it's from here. I don't really know what you call it, but you're just going to do like these thin strokes over it, just kind of make it blend out a little bit more. Also, I should say that this differs if you are drawing like clear versus dirty water and deep versus shallow water. So I'm doing kind of like a more clear and shallow water, hence seeing the rocks underneath still. But yeah, now using the same brush, I'm going to use a white and just kind of do these thin, delicate lines around the object. And then, like before, you can go in and make these kind of more detailed, small white lines. And it just makes all the difference, I think. And then you can also draw like the little white dots again for some extra sparkle. And then now if you zoom out, it looks kind of nice and blended in with the water. Okay, now it looks a little bit odd because nothing is rendered except the water. But once you add like some lighting, like along the water and kind of fully render the character or whatever's in the water, it's gonna look so good. Let me see if I can find some examples. So here's one that I did. You can see I'm using like the white lines as highlight. It's like darker around the horizon. There's some white highlights in the water. You got like the little white dots and the ripples going on. And then there's like that rock pathway that you can still kind of see because it's like shallow water. Same thing here. It's a little bit more simplistic, but you can still see the horizon and then kind of like the white highlights around and some of the white little dots. But yeah, so you can see if you break down the steps, it's actually quite simple and it's actually kind of therapeutic. So give it a go.